Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Marcus Thornton. I'm the Deputy Chief Data Officer for the Commonwealth in the Office of Data Governance and Analytics. This is our September Data Governance Council meeting. So we thank all of you that came in person to attend. We really appreciate that. We've got a packed agenda, a lot to get into. I'll talk a little bit about the agenda here. We'll go through our roll call. We'll do some order of business, accepting the meeting minutes, previous meeting minutes. We'll go through the Commonwealth project portfolio. We'll get some updates in from the ODGA, take a break, and then we'll come in with our data governance updates. We'll do an update on Informatica data quality, which we are very excited about. And after that, we'll open it up for member and public comments and close out the meeting. Okay. First item of business, though. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. Data Governance Council. This is what we're here to do. Advise the CDO, data technology, policy, governance structure, administer data governance policies, standards, and best practices as set by the board. Oversee data sharing and analytics projects, which we'll do a lot of that today. And you'll see, obviously it goes on to explain a little bit more about why we're here and some of the good things that we're about to do. A lot of this work, a lot of the feedback that comes from here goes directly to the executive data board as well. So keep coming with the feedback and keep coming with ideas. Purpose of this meeting, obviously, to make everyone informed about the NEEM standards and how to adopt them, provide the feedback on data literacy training. We want to increase awareness, obviously, of the ODGA services, which will be a point of contention for us because we want to always let folks know what's available, and confirm agencies for data quality scanning pilot. So, first order of business, we want to approve the meeting minutes. The previous meeting minutes were sent out to you all. And get any questions asked about them.
The virtual folks cannot hear you, so try to pull the mic.
Pull the mic up a little closer. Is this better? I'll try to talk in the mic, make sure folks can hear.
Make sure your mic is not muted. I think you're okay. We'll keep going.
Okay, I'll try to be cognizant of the mic. Motion. Someone make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, the previous meeting minutes sent out.
Make a motion to approve the previous meetings.
There's a motion and there's a second. All in favor of approving previous meeting minutes sent out, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, okay? No opposers, so ayes have it. So the previous meeting minutes have been approved by this group. Thank you. Moving along. I'd just like to give you guys an update on where we are with the executive branch agencies who have joined the Data Trust. We'd like to welcome our new members from DEQ, DWDA, VEDP. We welcome them. And then obviously we're in great discussions now with VCA and VITA, who will be soon. Hopefully we'll have them in the new members the next time we meet. But we're very excited about the agencies that are gradually joining the Data Trust, gradually understanding the value of sharing data in a secure and safe way. Agencies are paying a lot more attention to their data governance strategy. They understand that you really can't do much without a sound data strategy in terms of your applications, your data ingestion, reports, platforms, and then obviously the advent of AI becomes a major player. And we know that data is the foundation. Clean data, secured is the foundation to all of that. So we welcome our new Data Trust members to the group. So just to give you a little refresh on what ODGA offers, Initially, when we were starting, a lot of what we were doing was agency engagement, getting agencies to just join the data trust, be a part of a mechanism, a process by which agencies are agreeing to join and then share their data with other agencies in a safe and secure way. But we've expanded beyond that now. Now we're helping agencies not just with the data sharing aspect, but data curation and processing, data ingestion, the management of data sets from other agencies. Agencies come to us now and say, help us with our data governance. Do you offer any trainings that you could provide? And we do. Reporting and analytics is more or less our bread and butter. In terms of the visualizations, the insights, the analytics, we're very good at deciphering those and presenting them in a way that the end user is able to then make decisions. And then finally, consulting for best practices in data governance and sharing and management. We see ourselves as that consultant. Agencies routinely come to us now for data governance help, not just with working with their data, but building their data catalog and then understanding the valuable roles needed to be able to secure and maintain a solid data governance strategy. So we help agencies define, things like your data custodian, your data steward. You're going to hear a lot from Chris Burrows on some of the things that we've been helping with these agencies on. So very excited about that. So on the cross-agency front, cross-agency data project portfolio, as you can see, we solicited information from our agency partners relative to some of the reports, some of the projects that they're working on. And this is an indication just through the end of January, from January to December, just a glimpse of some of the work that some of these agencies are working on. And the reporting, the analytics, as you can see, we've got, VEC, DCR, Virginia State Police, Virginia Department of Health, and DMAS working on some major reporting and analytics projects. So happy to see other agencies getting involved in their reporting and analytics. Very interesting reports that they're building. From the data sharing and governance perspective, as you can see, we've got the same chart, just from a few different agencies and some different initiatives here. DMAS and VDH is partnering on one. DMAS, VSH, Pfizer, they're on a partner with, they're partnering with Pfizer, Medicaid, and public health immunization data. DCR and ODGA, we partner with them quite a bit. BSP and ODGA, they're one of our great partners as well. But what this is showing is just really the continued collaboration, cooperation between agencies. There are a number of data initiatives that are going on, and this is just sort of gives you an idea of what agencies are involved in what are those projects. Even more with the infrastructure projects. And again, this kind of shows you that data it expands in all areas. It's infrastructure, it's data quality, it impacts your applications. On the infrastructure front, DMAS, VEC, DBHDS, these are all of the projects that they've been maintaining throughout the year. So it's really good to see, one, as I mentioned, the cooperation with the agencies, the coordination. They're the ones that are reporting these data projects up to us. And then the fact that they're, managing these projects internally, really taking seriously the importance of data governance in their data strategy. So it's very encouraging to see. 2 years ago, we were in a much different place, and now it's good to see that our agency partners are really taking note of the importance of a sound data governance process. Any questions to this point? Okay, moving along. Some project updates from ODGA. So we've been extremely busy. I'll go through a few of these. Virginia Permit Transparency, VPT, we've delivered 8 reports for them. We are meeting this week to discuss the next phase, which could amount to some additional reports for them. I think those 8 reports that we've already delivered are already in production, and we've already pushed those out. So we're really excited about that. Department of Forestry conservation database was created for their easements, conservation easements, and the database moved from Virginia Tech in-house environment. So happy to help forestry as well. Department of Forensic Science, they're interested in creating a dashboard of annual drug report as refresh monthly that will be embedded on DFS's website for public access. Currently, the data is only available in an annual PDF file, so interactive dashboards will be a huge improvement to the availability of data. And this really speaks to, how, again, we're working with agencies to help, meet them at the point of their need. Forensic science, as an example, they didn't have to go out and buy a vendor. They just came to us. And that's really what we want to be able to promote is that, the idea of data sharing doesn't have to be costly, but there are resources, available in-house within the COV network that are actually doing this stuff. So it's good that we're able to work with these agencies to figure some of these items out. Virginia State Police, a big partner of ours, ODGA Data Governance Assistance, Law Enforcement Suicide Project. VSP was vital in our collection of data assets for Bold Blue Line. Just a major partner for us. So, and we appreciate all their help. Predictive analytics is something that we'll continue to grow in. It's a space that we're excited about. We've got a few projects now where we're trying to, do things. We talked about the Bold Blue Line project with Virginia State Police. We've taken that a step further, and now we're working with that intel to say, where are the most vulnerable places that these crimes are occurring based on historical precedents. That's predictive analytics. And if we could take that and say, can we predict, where are these high rates of speed accidents happening? That's where we find the value in leveraging predictive analytics. Our universal identity index is being leveraged. It's basically our crosswalk table, our de-identified crosswalk table that allows us to merge data sets from all different agencies. It protects the PII, removes any PII, and replaces it with unique identifiers that we move forward with on that individual throughout the system. And so for us, that's a very safe and secure way. And we think foundationally, this will be leveraged for other projects, things like identity proofing. We've talked about things like single sign-on experiments. So we think that this is the foundation to all that. The data.
Slides, those showcase projects. If you want to go to the next slide.
Sure. Go to the next. Got some. In the data trust automation, you guys are going to see a nice little demo of that. So, what is predictive analytics and how does it work? Is this me or is this you? Okay. Didn't want to steal any thunder. I talked a little about predictive analytics. We are, this is something that the ODGA has been passionate about now for a couple of years. Really, as soon as Ken got here, he put a center focus for us on predictive analytics, leveraging, as much data as we can, historical data, to be able to produce and publish insights that you can make decisions on. So the data collection process starts. We get all the data that we can. There's a data analysis part of this where we identify patterns and trends, and that's when we have our data scientists get involved. And then those algorithms are used to build models to forecast future outcomes. And that's really where we want to be. We want to be at a place to where we can take in and ingest a ton of data, and based on historical trends, be able to predict an outcome in the future. So the forecasting, the model provides insights. The likelihood of a cyber attack, hotspots. I talked about the likelihood of, where a crash might occur. If we get a hurricane or a flood or something like that, the likelihood that, a particular neighborhood, geographic area might get hit based on historical precedents. These are all factors that we consider. So why use predictive analytics? Well, I mean, I think what we're starting to understand is the why a little bit better. One of the things, and I think a lot of the folks in this room remember, there is some guidance on cybersecurity, generative AI, things like that. The challenge is, how do you use this? It's more than just why, but how. What are the common use cases that agencies and organizations today are using this for? And then more important than that, what are the skill sets needed to be able to build these things, to build these models? So we say things like, well, you need improved decision making. That's a good justification as to why you want to use this and enable smarter data-driven decisions. Obviously, risk management plays a role, identifying potential risk space. Increased efficiencies, you're streamlining processes, you're building automations, and then you're providing those insights into cybersecurity and risk. So, and these are the reasons why to use predictive analytics. Very valid reasons. The challenge is, again, do you have the right setup? Do you have your data in a place where you can load it into a model? Is the data curated enough? Have you removed the PII? How often do you need to run this model? Are you running this on 20,000 records, or are you running it on, a terabyte worth of data in terms of records? So those are some of the considerations to really think about. But we have built some solid use cases. We've started to use this with predictive analytics. I talked a little bit about crime prevention, where we were able to work with these crimes and based on these violent crimes, make a determination on when in the next month or the next 6 months that crime might occur in. From a cybersecurity perspective, being able to predict cyber threats by analyzing the patterns of network traffic, helping to prevent data breaches, monitoring the patterns and seeing if anything looks suspicious. That's how we leverage predictive analytics. You take the historical data and you say, well, what might happen in the future? And then more importantly, if it's something bad or nefarious, well, what are the steps that we take to prevent it? So if you're really, really into modeling and predictive analytics, here are some algorithms out there that we think are very popular. The regression analysis predicts continuous outcome, number of cyber incidents. Decision trees breaks down data into smaller segments and predicts outcomes. You have the time series analysis, random forest, and neural networks. I just wanted to show you some of the popular algorithms that are being used today. I know we've started to use a few of these in some of our insights and analysis when we're building models and doing predictive analytics. So it comes in handy because when you are running these algorithms or running these models and you're using these different algorithms, it's good to see kind of the different result sets that you get and to compare from, based on which algorithm that you use. All right. I talked a little bit about our entity matching, universal entity matching. We designed and implemented Universal Entity Index, which is our crosswalk table. The super crosswalk table that holds approximately 8.7 million records, mostly Virginians. And as I discussed before, we removed the PII. So first name, last name, social security, that's all gone. And it's been replaced with a unique identifier. So instead of calling you now by Marcus Thornton, I call you by this GUID. And that's who you are in the system moving forward. And then as we get more records about Marcus, from say, I don't know, DMV, we merge that data into the crosswalk table with the updated records, of course, but not exposing the PII. So that's how we keep it safe, and that's how we securely about that. So we've had this in place now for a couple of years. So very excited about this. Data trust automation. Now, this is something that we're very excited about. We have a common MOU. It's our data trust agreement. When agencies join the data trust, they sign our MOU. It's a 27-page agreement, a lot of pages. I would say 20 of those pages are describing kind of our role and responsibility as the ODGA and Ken's role as the chief data officer. The other 6 or 7 pages, you have to fill something out. And it does get rather tedious, but with a lot of the information. So we've created a process to simplify that through the creation of an online form that we want to demonstrate to you today. We're very excited about. We think this will cut the time down to generate Commonwealth Data Trust agreement from 2 days to about 15 minutes. Chris Wooten's our director of IT, and give us a nice demo.
Yeah, so Marcus, my name is Chris Wooten, Director of IT for the ODGA. But like Marcus was talking about, so the data trust process is made up of 2 different agreements. You have the member agreement, which is the agreement that's filled out to join the data trust. So it's a agreement between the ODGA and the requesting agency. There's also a set of documents called the user agreements, which is the data sharing agreements between the 2 agencies. So for instance, if DBHDS wants data from DMAS, that's a user agreement between those 2 agencies. So currently today, like Marcus mentioned, it's a PDF form that's manually filled out. It's emailed back and forth to get the appropriate signature. So we were tasked with looking into automating this to a web-based application. So this could be more of a streamlined process. So we'll be up the video here, but yeah, some of the benefits. This is we're using Microsoft technology. It's all developed with Angular with .NET API backend. We're using Okta for authentication authorization. Like I was just talking about, we're doing an interactive web application, so you can create and manage your data trust agreements. And some of the benefits are just shortened time between input time and allow for completion of the agreements, and then it will simplify the need of requesting data from other agencies. So hopefully you as data trust members can go into this portal, select data, and then choose your data set you want, fill out your agreement, and then it's more of an automated versus today trying to figure out who has what data. So yeah, recorded a short little video this morning kind of walking through the creation of a member agreement. So start playing this, kind of talk you through it. Yeah, it's still red around it. You can still see it. Cool. Great. So this is just kind of the home page. It's like logging in with Okta here, which looks very simple, but in the back end took a lot of time to figure out and work with me on that. And then on here, you kind of see the home page at the top. I'm going to agreements, member agreement, and I'm going to draft a new agreement. So we come here. That's telling me that there was already, because we're testing, there's already one in place. I'm creating a new one, so starting over. You see here, so this would be Exhibit A that we're filling out. So this is kind of the informational tab of the agreement. So it's asking you about, what is the project, who's your project officer, what's the intended use, how does it align with the Commonwealth goals, who are the stakeholders, anticipated results, all of that. And as you can see, these are all required fields to the agreement. So the continue button at the bottom is not enabled until all fields are accepted. So once we filled everything out, you see it's all filled out, the button became visible. So we're going to Exhibit B. So here on Exhibit B is where we will be adding the data sets that you as a agency joining the data trust are going to be contributing. So you can add basically an unlimited amount of data sets here, but for each data set, you will provide information like who's the data owner, what's the frequency that you'll be contributing this data, who's your data steward, what's the transfer methodology, what's the source system, kind of what's the data sensitivity, and then down here at the bottom, you can either most of the time, and here I'm showing you how to do it manually by typing in table and columns, but most people will upload it with there's a CSV upload. So you could put all your data sources there and upload a CSV, and it would populate these the data forms here at the bottom of the page as well. So after you input your data and whether manually or Excel upload, you would hit continue, which will take us to Exhibit C. So Exhibit C is where you will add your approved users, basically who from your agency is allowed to represent your data. So, putting myself here as a data owner in this case, and then maybe we're adding Valerie as a data steward. So this, you could add, same thing, unlimited amount of users here. You get to Exhibit F, which is basically a section of the agreement which allows you to upload supporting documentation. So if for some reason you want to upload your database diagrams or maybe network diagrams, whatever, or maybe an existing DSA with another agency, whatever the need is, you can upload your PDFs on this page, up to 5 different ones. So I didn't put one here, but if you did upload it there, and then at this point in time, we've completed the agreement. So what this is doing is it's showing you what the actual agreement will look like. As Marcus said, there's about 18 pages of legal documentation, but as you can start seeing here, it's filling in all the data from the forms into this PDF that we just filled out. So you see here's kind of, this is a preview screen. I'm also showing here, you can also download it. When we open it up, you'll see it. It's just basically the full size screen we just saw, but scroll down here in a second, you'll be able to tell it's filling out all the forms on the page. So I know it probably doesn't look like a lot, but previously this was a lot of back and forth. It's multiple emails, filling out manual PDFs. A lot when signatures went into it. So at this point, we've submitted the agreement. So what this is actually going to do, I'm just kind of showing here to end it off, like kind of the ability, you can go back and view it. You can kind of see it here, it's in draft. So you can see today I submitted it, and you can hit view and it'll show you all the stuff you filled out. But kind of just kind of what I want to talk about after that was just, so now that it's been submitted, what it's actually doing in the back end is we're using the Box signature service provided through Vita. So it's writing the document in the Box, and it's going to trigger off a whole workflow of signatures. So it's going to request the requesting agency's leadership to sign it, and then once they approve it, it'll go to Ken for signature. And there's like success and failure kind of workflows built into this. So like I was saying, that's member agreement. We're currently working on user agreement, which is the next stage where you'll request data from other agencies. And then, we're hoping to have this. The goal is, and I think we're on track to have it out in production by the end of the year. So maybe some people in this room, maybe November timeframe. We're hoping November into December will be kind of testing. So maybe we'll reach out to some people in this room, and maybe if y'all are available, we'll do some testing for us. But any questions about the data trust automation application we've been building so far?
Well, those of you guys that are actually doing agency to agency data sharing and utilizing this MOU know how much of a pain in the butt it is when you want to add one data source, to a particular project and stuff. So instead of this alleviates the whole back and forth and generating of a new PDF, new signature, new box, new back and forth emails, and this should cut everything down to about 10-15 minutes tops, I think.
Yeah, and with this, one thing I didn't really talk about is with this, as you're contributing data through the member agreement, we'll have a digital record of that. So we'll know what's been contributed to data trust. So when you go to the section of filling out your user agreements, you'll actually have the ability to request certain data sets. So you'll be able to tell what's been contributed and marked as available to share. When you're contributing data, anything that you mark as sensitive and not available won't be available on those other pages. But yeah.
Right now, it's at the stage where we give you data, we use this agreement.
Right. Yeah, but it's a manual process today. So yeah.
As long as there are people, there's going to be some manual component. I mean, I just want to make sure that, so how does this supplement our existing agreements? Because we have a sort of master agreement that says, in principle, we agree to share or use the ODGA to post some of our sensitive data, right, for sharing purposes. So how does this complement, supplement, override?
So the existing agreements will remain the same. They will be uploaded into this new system and available for view through your agency.
So what should be happening, and it's probably not happening as much as it should today because it's such a manual process. We're hoping this will alleviate that. Is every time we get a new data set from you, we should be updating your member agreement. So like this new data we're talking about on Friday, like we would, that's why when I sent you the summary, I said one of the things was add to your member agreement. The state would be Valerie or somebody from your agency would come in here and hit that section where it said data set, you would upload a data set. So now your member agreement contains everything. So we want this to be, from a legal perspective, we need a record of everything OGGA has on your behalf. So we're hoping this will be kind of the system of record of everything you've contributed, and then everything. And then from a user agreement thing you have access to from another agency.
So there are references to it, the master agreement, and yes, if we can see it, but it's really hard to go through email and figure out where exactly that's signed. If it's there on the portal, let's say I log in, or Suresh logs in from our standpoint, right? I just want to figure out that we say, okay, we have a master agreement. As part of that, like you said, it's an organic list. So we keep that list. And this is a list of
Data sets contributed.
data sets that are contributing to. Because I mean, the challenge we sometimes face is how intensive is the process? I mean, they're contributing 100 data sets and growing. So once that happens, it's like we have to do this each time, and then still keep history somewhere saying, this is a comprehensive list, or I don't know. I mean, how do we manage outcomes?
This is going to eliminate all of that back and forth.
This will be the system to do that. Whereas today, it's like I said, it's because it's so manual. It's been hard to keep track of that. We're hoping because it's automated, it won't be much of a pain for somebody to come in and say, hey, I gave you 3 new data sets. Here are the columns with the CSV upload. And like you were saying, today, the data sets are actually a part of the agreement. So anytime you add another data set, technically it's supposed to be signed by everybody, Suresh and then Ken. We're trying to get it approved by OAG where we can pull the data sets out where it's an organic list where, like you were saying, you're joining the data trust, we're giving you data, and then here's an organic data set that we can add to without requiring signatures every time somebody adds another table or something. That's kind of what we're working towards. And then the way we're hoping to enforce that we keep data updated in there is when you go to a user agreement, in order to request the data set, it has to be in the system. So it has to be tied to a member agreement. So if, like we were talking the other day, if someone needs access to the new data set you're giving us, it's, hey, that's not in our dropdown. It's because it wasn't in the member agreement. We got to go update that first. So we definitely more data governance on our side. This is a tool that we're going to use to ensure our data governance of our agreements.
And hopefully in the future, this will include options for us to refresh the agreements annual. Button.
Yeah, exactly. So right now the agreements are on 3-year expiration. So we're building in expirations, and it's going to email you and say, hey, it's time to renew. And then when you renew, it's going to pre-populate what's already there and then say, do you want to make any changes? So yeah, you're right. The update should be very simple unless you want to make changes.
I think that's the biggest feature here in terms of, I don't have to keep calling around people to see where are again. Yeah. I should not say this out loud, but it's sometimes what happens is knowing who the signatories are, what we signed up for, and
You have
Just-
to look for that stuff.
yeah.
Here, this be one place, one-stop shop.
Yeah, you got to go and see like who have you approved to have access to the VDHD? You say, okay, all these different agencies, it was approved by Dress on this day, and then you could go there and decline it if something changed. You don't want to renew it, so yeah, just like you said, so right now it's very manual. It's kind of hard to keep track of. So we're trying to put it all in a portal where it's accessible for everybody.
And kind of as we move towards better maturity Commonwealth-wide as far as data and data governance goes, I think this is going to be immensely useful in conjunction with the data catalog, because you can do your data requests right through here and have it automatically added to or amended to an agreement through the system and not have to do that whole back and forth.
Thank you very much.
I had a question on,
Yeah, sure.
not on this one.
Okay.
On universal entity matching project. Is it being used by other agencies? I just trying to. The universal entity matching, I think it's
Very minor. We're using it with VDH. We worked with VDH on a project where from during COVID, that was kind of the driving factor of it. So during COVID, we were able to take different data sources and link them back to a single person. So that was kind of the main use case we went down the path on. since then, we haven't done too many with it, but we've been looking for, trying to get by, and obviously, we need the data sets to fuel it. And honestly, we haven't got a lot of personalized data sets. Yeah.
So is it similar to the conversation that we have been having?
If I think in the EDB that we're talking about, you're internally making one, and I've mentioned to Mark that where that'd actually be really good, because like if y'all have your own entity, then we could link those through it. Whereas if you don't have to give us, you just give us ABC 123, and then I know ABC 123 at DVHS is the same as, AB 12 at VDH, and we can create all that mapping internally.
Yep.
And not have to get the PII, so it's the info.
I'm assuming this universal entity matching, you are maintaining it in terms of any kind of a governance surrounding that, things like that,
Yeah.
like any enhancement.
Yeah, it's very limited. It's obviously on the internal network, only be a Peyton and maybe one person in term have access to it. So it's very, very limited access and stuff.
And you are having any kind of an open APIs for others to use?
We haven't yet. It's kind of been like with the VDH case, it was kind of a use case, and we would basically pump data through it and then give you the result out of it. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have statistics around that, saying that the approach we are taking typically is in terms of Anoop exists as right? And Anoop exists as in immunization system, for example. I'm talking about my support. But I mean, just to make sure, right? I factually am recorded in 4 different in-house systems that VDH has. The only one I'm not yet shown up is in the white paper. That's separate part. The question that we had was, I mean, and this is a very back-end transparent kind of process, right? Most people don't love saying the MPI, but most people don't actually use it. So if we can produce statistics about, and one system that we made a big change on was immunizations, because foundationally record linkages and deduplicating people or addresses was a little safer for us to use that. And once you start looking at that concept and saying, even though the systematic deduplication exists, we do it offline and we produce statistics. So, and number of unique people in a system, and in those same people outside in a different system, and the chances of the match. I think that will help drive a lot of use cases for you instead of just being a random MPI. Right? It has other political implications. I really don't want to go into that right now. So for us, for you to be successful on that, saying that we can link records, we stop saying MPI loudly. We just basically say we link records, we'll give you additional information. And once it gets to a maturity stage where we are consistently on a monthly basis running this on the cloud, saying that you are reasonably, you're like 95% match rates.
Yeah.
Then you can put that forward and say, we have tried out. Yeah. And we tried a few algorithms where it works in the public health space, but the algorithm does not work in a different space.
Yeah.
And then linking entities, so the MPI and the MAI, we have that 0.01% chance where somebody is identified as a duplicate or not identified as a duplicate using your traditional methods. Whereas once you link that with an address component, it's obvious that because it's a weird little name combination, you say that 5 people are at that same address, but you see that traditional matching could not solve.
Are we still using the address verification?
Yeah, we're using Verado, but it's definitely a very complicated problem.
Yeah,
to solve for
it
sure.
is.
But it makes a lot of sense.
That drives, I think that will drive a lot more. And some people just want to link records.
Yeah.
And that's what we use it primarily for, link records across, data requests as such, DNS, all variety of it. Foundationally, all they are is this person dead? Yes, no.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, right? Very simple questions. Yeah. And we are adding the MPI component or the unique component, and it happened to us once where we said a person is dead thrice. It's just not possible, right? I mean, and this is because DNS gave us data, so that person was existing in the system. Like, I already told you this person is dead. I mean, I'm going to change. So that will help us change our business workflows, change how we do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think just personally, when I think about it, it's like the end goal, it's obviously very, very, very far away, but it's like trying to create like a single record. Same with Vita, trying to do single citizen. You know, think it from a constituent point of like, hey, I log into a portal and I can get my health record. I can get my, DMV record all without having to have a separate login for every single system. Maybe ideally have a portal, but I mean, to your point, you have to be very accurate and make sure.
The data straight
Yeah,
first.
get the data. A lot goes into that to create that. but-
Or move to a place like Singapore where during COVID, you get off the train, given a number in your track. Entire time,
Yeah.
you cannot leave there 10 square miles without actually,
Wow.
you actually did that. My cousin actually had to do that moment, got off the flight, sign up, you get a tag. And you are tracked every single place in Singapore.
Wow. That's how it was.
Brute force approach it.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah. It worked. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
So we're running a little early, so what we'll do, I'm gonna get started on the governance section, if you don't mind, but we'll keep the breaks where it is. Is that work for everybody? Right. So, the last time we met, as a data governance council, remember we had the representative from Open Oasis who, briefly spoke about what NEEM is. Just to refresh your memory, it was born after the 9/11 tragedy where they found that federal agencies didn't have data standards, so they couldn't talk to one another. So, they created this standard. They've kind of already argued about the definition of terms and such. So that's been done for you. So now, it's up to us to implement it if we want to easily share data. So this is really a foundational effort to improve data sharing across the Commonwealth. So what we've done since we last talked was that the Data Stewards Group, that last meeting they had a slightly more in-depth session than you guys had to talk about NEEM. And then our comms team has developed a little awareness content, which we can give you to roll out to your agency if you'd like. It just basically explains, hey, is this a ship or a boat? Two different names for the same thing. So it's a very user-friendly type job aid to explain what NEEM is. I'll refresh your memory on NEEM. And Open Oasis has this YouTube channel. There's some cute little intro videos to help you get started on that. They've got on Twitter, X, NEEM Connects, you can follow that. There's some training. So I want to kind of remind you about that. There's also the 12 different domains. And if you want to work with us on Purview, we can upload those additional domains, which are like public safety, criminal justice, environmental. So we can upload those to Purview so that you can map your data to it. But I guess my question to the Data Governance Council now is, what do you need from us? Are you interested in moving forward with NEEM? And how can we help?
I had a
Yes.
question. Back in July, I was just trying to reach out to see whether NEEM standards they applied to behavioral health.
Mhm.
I did not get a response. So is that, has things changed with NEEM? Is the standards aligned to what healthcare needs?
There is a healthcare domain. So did you not get a response from the lady who came to talk to us?
I
Sorry.
think I reached out to Police. I
Okay,
don't think I have reached out to.
okay. We'll follow up on that. Yeah. So is this something you guys are interested in, helping with your standards? What do you need from ODGA to roll this out in your agency?
Getting a clarity on that adoption.
Okay.
Beneficial.
Sounds like maybe it's not top of mind.
It may help if we maybe give some talking points around what we did when we joined.
Yeah.
And that could be sort of distributed.
Yeah, and if you'd like us to come to your agency and do a little session on this, we can do that. So we can help educate folks. Unfortunately, the data we do have in Purview, we have mapped it to the NEEM definitions, but we can't, of course, go into your agency and do that. I'll share one. I could say the name of the agency. So VSP said they had 12 different definitions of trooper, right? I said, well, instead of trying to align that definition within your agency, why don't you just see what that is already in NEEM that somebody decided? And then if you have in your tables, it matches that definition, great. Check those off. You say, I'm standardized. And then you can come up with different definitions, internal definitions for trooper, like retired trooper or trooper in training or whatever reason they have 12 different definitions. So
Have we mapped this against existing public use data that you have access to?
we have mapped it to whatever data we have in Purview. So we do have VDH data in our Purview instance. We have mapped it to NEAM standards. And so DMAS and VEC, whatever we have matched it up with NEAM.
And is there a report that we can access?
So Purview doesn't really report. We can give you access to the portal and you can view it. It does have an API and we could do an export and create a report from that.
So the reason I'm mentioning it as this is because I know factually, and I've uploaded the data sets, right? There are at least 5 different variations of the FIPS code.
Mhm.
It's just basically a industry definition of your county is 51 is Virginia and 3 digits for the locality. That's simple stuff. I've seen so many variations of the naming around it that mind-boggling. But anyways, so if we have that and say you have access to all 100 odd data sets that we have, and 50 of them have the FIPS code. So if we say that this is what it represents, what can we? I mean, our recommendations are you name it like this, or this is what the definition is. This is what the values typically are. Whatever the NEAM recommendation is, I think that's easier for us to work with our data stewards and our data governance leads. They say you have a starting point. Now we can use that as awareness in terms of building it into our process.
Yeah, and that's why I would say it is a starting point to standardization. I think there are going to be things that are unique to your agency, right? And then I don't think anybody has time to totally redesign all their systems. So if they do use different definitions of the word trooper, but I don't think we are asking go change all those. Let's just start building that foundation, right? And we'll continue as you roll out new systems. You can then say, oh, well, before we create our data dictionary, let's look at the NEAM definitions and use those.
And we had spoken.
There's also the conduit with NEAM Open that we maintain. We're on their standards council. So if there is something, I know when they came and did their training, someone had mentioned, it was different in their field from some of the NEAM standards as to how they do things. So that's one opportunity to kind of get that information back to them and then see what standards can be built around that if it needs to be changed or if something needs to be tweaked somewhere. We are your voice. We can help with that.
We could influence those standards.
So back in time, we had spoken about this. I think the recommendation was that we align it to VDH, for example, would align to the health secretary's office, right? Saying that branch, everybody has that way, at least within the secretariat, we have a aligned similar data sets can link better, will be more standard. Was that, and did we follow up on that? Is there any progress?
So that is the way we've designed the collection hierarchy in Purview. I would say you probably start at the lowest level with your tables, databases, applications, and then start doing across agency and then across the secretariat.
I think when it comes to, especially when it comes for VDM reporting, right, it's total chaos.
Yeah.
Because I don't envy the person who consolidates that maybe like 50 different collection points you have,
Right.
and you're suddenly trying to, and somebody asked me this, what do you mean by FIPS? Is it 3 digits, 5 digits in the definition, right?
Yeah.
So it took us some time to get to that, but that will definitely help, I think, in that it's not just standardization for the sake of it. It's like so that we can actually collaborate much.
Yes, I do want to be clear. NEAM we're not saying you must roll out NEAM because it is just a foundational thing you have to do. It is to improve the accuracy of your reporting, your quality of what you're presenting out there and your visualizations. Is get those standards. So there's no questions about what the FIPS scores are and such. Anything else on NEAM? All right. Well, let's talk about the resources. So I did want to share with you, last time we talked, we had some content that was up on the ODGA website under the /resources section. We are continuing to expand that. You will see it keep growing, so keep checking back. But there are some things I want to highlight that we have done. So the first one is on data quality. So Chris Wooten has written some sample SQL data quality queries. So if you don't know how to check for data quality yourself, he's actually written the select statements for you that says how to check for null values, inconsistent formats, data that's out of range and things. So that's kind of the DIY version of data quality. So if you don't want to use the Informatica data quality tool, which we're going to talk about, you can use these SQL scripts. And he's also built a sandbox with some sample data that matches the script. So that way you, your team can go in there and play with it and kind of learn how to do this in the sandbox, get the results that are expected, and then take those queries and then translate them to the systems that you have in-house. So we're trying to create those resources that just kind of lift everybody up together, right? Depending on where their SQL skills are, I'm guessing VDH probably has really good SQL skills, or maybe smaller agencies that need to know how to write a select statement. So.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, the sandbox is kind of intended for that, so you could run some sample data quality, but also just anybody that wants to learn SQL. It's all just either fake data or public data. So if anyone in your agency wants to literally just have a sandbox to write some SQL queries and learn how to write, selects and joins and all that, just let us know and we can provide you with the credentials needed to log in.
Mm-hmm. And if there's some SQL you'd like us to write for you, I mean, I guess Chris took a guess at what people would need. But if there's other stuff you think we should put out there, we're always open to suggestions. It doesn't take too long for us to do this. And if it's of value to 60 some executive agencies, we definitely want to do that. We've also added a balanced scorecard for data governance. So this is a tactical scorecard. So we're not doing ROI or anything like that, not for the project level, but this is just to kind of measure your data governance program. And I'll pull it up in a moment, make it a little bigger, but we've got kind of a section on data quality, metadata management, some of those areas. With some targets. These are sample targets because they all say like 100%. So please change that, because you might want to say my target is 10% or, much lower target. So these are just placeholder values so that you can start using the scorecard and then watch your progress. So it's okay to start at a baseline of 0, right? And then you say next year I want to be at 10%, and then 20% and 30%, and watch that continuous improvement. So that's why we have these standard set of metrics. You can do one of these scorecards per application for the whole agency, however you want to use it. It's just kind of a single dimensional spreadsheet, but go for it. We've also got a data classification policy up there on the resource page. And then last time we met, we voted on the Commonwealth's data governance policy. And in that policy, it said every agency should have 6 key policies. So we didn't leave it out to dry. We created sample templates of those policies. And I'll tell you, we didn't just write them. So for the data retention one, I did partner with LVA, partnered with VITA on data classification. So already reached out on data security, worked with VITA and the CSRM team to make sure it synced up with all the various regulations, codes, and things like that. So you can kind of use it as it is. When I say sample, it's got kind of an insert your agency name here. You're welcome to add things to it, customize it for your agency, but it should be a good starting point for you. We were just at COVID's, and all the local government folks were very excited about this because it's a pain to write policies. So I think we have good solid ones, and you can use it to build upon. Now, you don't have to stop at 6. I know Paulus has 14 or 16 you're working on? 14. So he's going to speak at our next Data Governance Council and talk about all his policies. Seriously. So he just wants to be better than everybody else. So this is your baseline, and it should get you started. So let's see. I am going to pull it up real quick.
Do we have a policy for data release?
Data release? No.
Data sharing.
Data release, as in what and what not to. Yeah, I mean, not as in a formal sharing agreement, but what we can put out.
Like can't publish to public or something, or like.
Well, I'll tell you, there is the Data Dissemination Act. And that I would say is what you should refer to. One thing I am going to do, it's kind of on my list of things to do for the resource page, is I'm going to try to summarize the code about the Data Dissemination Act so it's easy to understand. So I'll simplify that so it will be up on this page. So if you go to the resources here, since we last talked, we put them in little buckets now. So you've got some sample policies. We got data privacy, data quality, metadata, data stewardship. So those are up there. I think last time we talked, I had the sample job descriptions up there, which you can customize for a junior level versus a senior level. We've got the guidebooks, and this is where you find that second one down in the guidebooks is the data quality SQL scripts. So if I pull that up. Let's see, can you guys see that or should I make it a little bigger? So I think it's pretty simple to understand. And if I go down here, finding rows with nulls in any column, empty strings, checking for duplicate records. So you just got the sample, easy SQL. And he was probably going, I could do this in my sleep, but
You got me at the select star statement. I'm like, great, now we can blow up the system.
okay.
They try to keep it super simple.
No, he's saying if you do a select star and you have, say, 50 million rows, it might affect performance, correct?
That performance, that's not good. We strongly advocate not using select star.
Mhm.
And it's like good old Unix C platform days where you wrote the equivalent of a delete star and just basically wipes out the entire system tables, everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Select star and everything is like select star from star. And like, it's gone.
I hated summertime because that's when the interns came and they would create outer joins. Okay. And somebody's like, why is our Oracle database so slow? It's like, darn interns, have to teach them a little slick. Yeah.
That's probably what I do with no lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure your data's not that big, but just, it always interests me when somebody says it starts with select star.
Yes.
No lock.
Yeah. So some other examples that are out there, I showed you, I want to show you the ballot scorecard so I can make it a little bigger on the screen. Oh, sorry. I hate touchpads. So
They're so convenient.
no. All right, hold on. I'm going to do this the old fashioned way with
You get used to it, trust me.
really just. So you see what we've got up here, like under data quality, we've got accuracy, completeness, consistency, and timeliness. So we've got the measure detailed in here. Then you assign the owner. So there's a column for that. Again, like I said, we had targets and actuals of 100%. That's not an expectation. That's a placeholder. And then I've got little arrows so you can show the trend because some stuff you want to be going up and some you want to go down to make it green, right? So you can color it. And we've got a little, whether it's on target or not, and then a notes field. So there's a section for data security, data privacy, data catalog, and data stewardship. So feel free to use that to get your program going.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
One feedback or a request, right? Some of these items that are there, for example, access control on data security. It is, I would say, there's a dependency on beta. Because,
It does,
they-
yes.
They have that, they are taking care of the outer parameter. So is there any activity that is going on between ODG and beta so that this can be made available for the agency? That is what will happen is, this is a, how do I put it? It's a overarching need that is there,
Mhm.
right? It is not, for example, for example, data quality,
Yes.
accuracy of the data. Those are the things that as an agency, there is a higher degree of control,
Mhm.
right? But when it comes to few of these, when it needs a higher collaboration between the central
Yes.
agency, it would be beneficial if that is actually provisioned out.
Yeah.
See where I'm going from?
No, it's great feedback. I think we're kind of at that crawl stage, not even walk or run. So we're starting, this is what we want to measure. And I think then automating some of these, would be very
Yeah,
helpful.
automating at that higher level.
Yes.
Between those central agencies so that it can be provisioned out, it would be beneficial.
Sounds good.
So one question that I had was around stuff like data quality, right? At what point in time in the life cycle are we talking about, let's say, a target of 90%, for example? At the collection point, at the consolidation point, or the transmission point?
Interesting question. I was just talking to the Informatica guys kind of about that because you can do your data quality when in your pipeline, right? Is it coming in good? So then the advice I gave them is I said, state of Virginia systems have been around a long time. I think we want to kind of look at the at rest right now, see what it looks like there. And I think then the next evolution is to make sure your data is coming in clean. But it could vary based on the agency. So I don't think there are good processes. So if you have bad data, like DSS, they have a remote location, right? There's a local social service. The data is bad. What is the process? So are you going to stop the pipeline? So I think there's the technical challenge and then there's the business process challenge of what do you do? Because I don't think you want to have slow down that pipeline, right? Where you don't know what's going on in the field. So
I would love to eliminate Mickey Mouse from a lot of my production systems. But I mean, like you
I
said,
get it.
it's different from an operational standpoint,
Mhm.
right? So we will have to measure. Yes, Donald Duck is also there, by the way. So,
Yeah.
I don't know why they got a vaccine shot, but
And probably George Washington too, and a few of those people, right?
figuring out, or rather clearly highlighting this to, you talk to the application stewards, tell them that, look, it should in theory be part of their process. If they say it's 90% accurate, that's like a rock solid number,
Mhm.
right? Because you're building your application to collect data,
Yes.
needs to be there. Whereas once you're doing that on the analytics and the reporting side, the data quality threshold could be very different. So I think that, I mean, though all those numbers are very, we should have some variation of saying, this is a moving target across defined points in the life cycle.
Yeah, I think we're not dictating that, say you use this templates or these numbers. I think you have to interpret them for your agency, what is appropriate at your level of maturity. So a more mature organization may, look at it both, how the data is coming in as well as how it's at rest, right? Other ones are like going, I just want to look kind of at rest. So a couple of things. So we've got some guidebooks on, creating your data governance council, one pager for data strategy. So I would just encourage you to look here, continue to look, keep an eye on Jesse's newsletter because she's definitely letting folks know what's going on there. And then I think it is 2:02. Before I jump to the next slide, it is probably time for a break. If that works for you guys, and then we'll continue on with the governance part.
Great.
So,
Come back
Jesse,
at,
what-
let's come back at 2:15.
2:15. Well, that's a nice long break. You're very generous.
2:10.
2:10. Okay. All right. I still have more to say.
You got your break by 7 minutes, just like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You could.
Okay, so.
All right, it is 2:15. We're starting back up.
Another girl, the one.
Yeah, now. All right. So you guys can, everybody's still good online? All right. So let's continue with the data governance section of the presentation. So I did want to give you a Dataversity update. In case you don't know, one of the benefits of joining the Commonwealth Data Trust is we do give out scholarships to Dataversity. And that helps you, all your data stewards, anybody involved in data governance. We've got some DBAs doing this, help improve their skill set. So Dataversity continues to expand their offerings. So I think last year when I gave you this little presentation, we said they have about 400 classes. Now they're at 900 plus. So that should keep everybody busy. Where we are to date, so far 193 classes have been finished this year, starting as of January 1st. So that's a really good usage of the platform. And there are 84 that are in progress. So somebody started them, they haven't quite finished them. And I know some people are very proud that they're on the top 5 learner agency list. So in this room. Yes, VDM is #1, followed by VSP and then DSS, and then Chev and Virginia Community College. So, and I think it's also insightful to see what the most popular classes are. It's really kind of like getting started. What is data governance? So we're starting kind of at ground zero, but people are committed to improving data governance in the Commonwealth. So I'm pleased about that and glad we have this resource available to help folks. So if you're not taking advantage of this offering, please see me and I will get you signed up. Then I wanted to talk briefly about where we are with the data catalog. Page. All right. So some of you may be aware we are working on a Commonwealth-wide data catalog. Now that doesn't mean a data warehouse. We're not absorbing everybody's data into a data warehouse, data lake. It's just trying to figure out what data is available out there in the Commonwealth. So far, this is actually older, up to 45% of the agencies have submitted their data sets. So we're making good progress on it. 388 data sets in total are in the catalog, of which 210 can be shared. The agency said they could be shared. Now, that doesn't mean it's free for all. You still have to have the proper controls, permissions, and owners, and there has to be a business reason for it. But we are making some progress there. And the folks who've contributed the most data set, thank you very much to DOE. They're here in the room. So you have the most data sets contributed, then DOC, then VSP, VDAX, and DOA. So thank you very much. And if you're in this room and haven't submitted your data catalog, please do. But Jesse will send you an email if you have not. So also wanted to update you on some other data governance projects that are going on. So we've had substantial growth in the Open Data Portal. We made a concerted effort to increase the number of data sets that are out there. So one is kind of that supply side. So we're working on that. We're also working on the demand side and trying to get people to the Open Data Portal. So when I wrote this, it was 500% growth year over year. I've lost track. We're at 2,900, I think, and 67 data sets. Thanks to VDOT, they gave us a couple hundred, and we put them out there. And so, we also have some DEQ, some water quality information, some environmental information. DOE's given us a lot. We've got information from localities out there. So we're really building up this platform to improve government transparency. We also reached out to the Department of Education and said, hey, we got all this great data. Wouldn't it be cool if you did some lesson plans based on it, gave them some sample lesson plans? Well, they were very excited because I didn't know this because my daughter has graduated, but as part of the standards of the learning, there is a whole data science requirement through it where they have to do data analytics. So we are partnering up with DOE to you're excited. Right. So hopefully we're going to get great data out there, create some lesson plans in partnership with DOE, and improve the data science skills of all of the different grades as they go through school. And so we're talking to them about presenting at one of their teacher conferences and teaching them how to really embrace data, use it to kids get wonderful insights, right? They're going to see things that we couldn't possibly imagine. So we're very excited about that. And Jesse's working on getting a press release out there. And we're partnering with the Library of Virginia as well to do some work with their librarians to let them know about the Open Data Portal. So we'd love to have your data. So anything you can contribute, it doesn't have to be detailed data. If you want to summarize it, we will put it out there and then we can keep you posted on what's popular. Also, I want to share with you, we did an On the Square event called Supercharging Your Workplace with Gen AI. We hit a record. We beat the chair yoga people. I was very excited. We had more attendees than them. So we talked about how to improve your productivity. So whether it's meeting planning, coming up with agendas, writing documents for you, kind of saying it's not about building robots or anything. It's about how do you basically get this tool to help you be more efficient, because, with the government, do more with less, right? Well, Gen AI can help you with that. So happy to talk to your agencies if you want us to assist with that. I did want to remind you guys about we have Purview for scanning your databases. So we can get those scanned in, and then you can curate the metadata, the data lineage, or we can assist with that, whatever works. We also have Big ID, which is used for unstructured data scanning. So what that does, some people are nodding their heads. Yes, so it scans all your data and finds out where that sensitive information is, maybe, I don't know, passwords in clear text that you didn't know about. So the ISOs are very excited about this because it gives you a great perspective of where your risk is, and then you can either remediate it, protect the data, whatever you need to do. So we are finding a lot of data. People go, oh, I didn't know that was out there, right? So let's clean it up before the bad guys find it. And now,
Do we
hopefully,
have partnerships with schools directly?
no, ODGA does not.
Are we interested in exploring that?
I personally am, and I have a personal passion for education and learning. So, so where I think we can build that, but if you have a suggestion, I'd love to hear it.
The reason I brought this up with my son's, he goes to he's a senior at Maggie Walker. So I spoke to his stats teacher. Again, one of those moments where kids are like, Dad, don't show up, please. But, please don't show up. Interesting conversation that they had. I mean, they are, that particular teacher is very interested in real life scenarios, because statistics by itself is a boring subject. And those kids are reasonably smart also, right? So they're like, I don't have the capacity to generate more questions or help you with more real life examples. So that's when we pointed them to a lot of our data on the portal and said, you could use this or you could use this. And it resulted in a couple of kids actually helping us out on a couple of projects. I would love to tap into those resources, but unofficially, we cannot do it officially.
Yeah.
Right. We have given them details about the ODGA for, this if they're able to build that partnership, I think it's a win-win for a true win-win for everybody.
Well, I'll tell you, so William and Mary, did you want to talk about that, Jesse? Okay. Do you want to come up here?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And we're actually, it's funny that you mentioned that we're trying to get the word out to Virginians about the portal in multiple capacities. So how we're trying to work with DOE, with the educators, just people who are enthused about data in general, just build the awareness, period. So I reached out to our friends at William and Mary, and I was like, hey, I think your professors, your students may really be interested in this. Can you please help us get the word out? They told me yes, of course. But also they let me know that they were actually using the portal for projects in their classes. And in December, when the semester ends, they're going to, let me interview them just to see kind of what the project was, what did they use it for, what benefit they found from it, all of that good stuff. We're trying to get the word out there. So thank you for spreading the word.
So I would say it's pretty organic at this point, but we'd love to do a more organized program.
Yeah, I think you spoke to Peter Hunt, right, at VDH, because William and Mary, their data science program is relatively new and only a couple of years old, actually. So on the vital record side, they're interested in projects and stuff. So they're like, yes, for permission data, you go here. And we encouraged them we spoke to their dean and basically said, this is an alternative you could have. You could go to the ODGA, you could go to the data trust and do all this, right? So what I think you're looking at is coming up with more of a structured plan, saying, these kinds of projects, these kinds of data, and that way, selfish interest, we also get resources to help us on short-term projects, which I think is a good opportunity to have.
Oh, no, I love that. And I appreciate DOE getting excited about this opportunity and partner, because we're not experts in lessons plans, right? We're data people. But I think partnering with those two agencies can really deliver something that, we hadn't considered in the past.
There's a guided study and there is a practicum project, but there's a cost associated with it. It's just an FYI. So it's something like you can engage VCU for certain activities from a project standpoint, which will be part of their curriculum. But if they engage, there's suggested donation and all that.
Okay. And Ronald, I saw you raising your hand.
Yeah, 10 years ago, DOE used to work with James Madison University and we'd give them data sets and suggest projects and work with teams there. We did the same thing up at Deep Creek with some of their AP classes. And the kids did really good work. And I know at least once or twice they presented members from DOE and the governance, BODS, their governance were judges. They presented to us. They did some really good work and got some interesting insight. So I would, whenever you have the opportunity to do that.
All right. Well, yeah, so I guess please see us after the meeting if you want to talk more about that. We're definitely willing to work with you guys on it. And in my excitement to share the resource, I forgot to give you the update on the training, so I'm sorry. And then we'll do Informatica data quality. So in our last meeting, you guys prioritized what training needs you had. And one of them was the data stewardship. So I'm happy to report we finished the script and storyboard. Thank you, Mitzi and Paulos, who reviewed that, gave us some feedback, and it is now in DMV's hands. They're working on developing that course. So that's good. Then on the data literacy front, we're creating some data literacy training that's really geared toward the masses. So kind of getting started with it. Aaron has worked, we've got the script and the course developed. After this meeting, we'll be sending it out for your feedback. It's drafted. I'll give you an idea of what's in there. It is like, here's, depending on what type of data you have, what graph do you use, and it's just the bar pie line chart, scatter plot. That's no histograms or anything. We're starting small, explain what an x-axis is, a y-axis, real basic stuff. And then there's a section on misleading graphs where they truncate the y-graph and things like that to help people understand when people are trying to fool you. So that's really kind of the level that we're at for that. So I'd love to get your feedback on length. We'll send some questions that we want answered. And then we've also got the script done for data foundations. So what is in there is basic stuff, mean, median, mode, probability and risk, reading polls, not political polls, just polls with margin of error, sample size and things like that. So some basic statistics to just get people familiar with it. And then also misleading statistics, right? So we're showing them kind of the basics and how you can get fooled. And because we're trying to improve data literacy across the Commonwealth. So we envision this first rolling out to Commonwealth employees, and then it can be rolled out much further because it's not going to be specific to any state agency. So that's what we've been working on. We'd love to get your feedback on that. And then the next things you've asked for are data for executive leaders and then data quality. So that's kind of our pipeline on what's coming up. So any questions on that?
The database component, we have a visual design. The reason I'll mention this is because doing this for too many years now, explaining to folks as to why or design the viz that you have to, not the viz, design the web page, right? Design your content, focusing on saying why not. I mean, data aside, focusing on saying this is the logical construct of you have KPIs at the top. You do this and you do this, helping folks make that decision point to say that before you achieve a line graph, everybody does a line graph by default, right? So how do you make sure that you can highlight certain sections? We have a few, if you want, we have a few samples that we worked with APs on and basically said, for an interactive piece, this is what makes sense. This is how you highlight sections, something as simple as, especially public facing content. I'm like, don't make me fish for information, right? If you want to tell me this is what you want me to focus on, point to it and basically write it out.
Yeah.
Simple stuff, right? I think that would help a lot. Folks get better awareness. Not everybody is a graphic designer.
Right.
Not everybody is a web page designer, but this helps them at least understand. You format your data in a particular fashion. The visualization is, otherwise most APs are like, I was taught in AP school to build these 4 graphs and that's it, right? By condition, HIV, you cannot do this, but now it's changed. So that might
So in the visualization class, It is, again, very high level. We do have a best practices section. It basically says, keep it simple. Worry about accessibility, so don't make your graph all red and green. So there's pointers like try to tell a story, don't get all cluttered. So it's got some of those things in it. I think what we're trying to do is target, ODGA can for free do this basic class that we roll out to 100,000 people, right? All the COB employees. What we're not going to do is create a data science class or a Power BI class. That content's out there. The users are a much smaller set, and we could probably buy that. So whereas, even at $5 each, right, this could be an expensive class. So we're trying to use our resources in the best way to serve the needs of the Commonwealth. So take a look at this class. Tell me if there's anything we've missed. We can put it in there. Again, it's like when I was doing this, I said the x-axis, and then I was like, oh, I should call that horizontal line. I bet they don't know what horizontal is. Okay, the thing that goes left to right. So, I do need your feedback to say, is that appropriate? Like, should I be that basic, say left to right, or am I dumbing things down too much? I try to hit everyone. So you're laughing, you're saying left to right, huh?
No, I'm saying hopefully horizontal.
I can stop at horizontal, so we'll see.
I don't know.
Horizon.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's coming out, so thank you very much. So I think now the exciting part, so Jesse, are the Informatica folks online? Okay, so last time we met, we talked about Informatica's data quality tool. I thought maybe you needed a refresher because now we just sent the PO today, right? Today. So yes, so we now have, they are CovRamp certified. So we went through that whole process. It took 9 months. We made it through. So we now can get Informatica tools. So the first one we're going to start with is this data quality profiling. So I've got the folks from Informatica on the line who are going to refresh your memory on this product. And what I hope to get out of today's meeting is confirm who the pilot users are. So I believe last time DSS and VDH raised their hands. So you can either put your hand down, we can have more users. So I just need to know who's really going to take this journey with us to get this product stood up. So, but you can volunteer later. So I guess Rob and Jeb, if you want to introduce yourself, I think I'll stop sharing.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Well, if you don't want it, it's fine. Okay. I heard you coming over the phone. You attended virtually, and you said.
He's talking.
Allison,
Oh. All right.
I meant to turn it off.
Can you hear us?
Barely.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Yes, here.
All right. Try now.
Oh, can you hear us now?
Hold on. I hadn't put you on max volume. I was a little afraid. All right, now.
How about now?
Is that good for everybody?
It's okay.
Okay, we're good.
It's okay. I'll try and speak as loud as I can.
Okay, share your screen.
All right. Yes, absolutely. So, how's it going, everyone? My name is Jeff Mascouli, or just Jev, much easier to say. So today I'm just going to walk through quickly a little about our cloud data quality tool and cloud data profiling. In addition, we could talk about anything else you might want to see, but just wanted to give a quick overview. So from a data quality standpoint, you have the ability to create different assets, things like rule specifications to measure the data quality based on specifications that you call out. A data dictionary, think of it as a reference table that you're able to leverage as part of some data quality cleansing operations and standardization operations. We'll walk through what that looks like. Verifier cleansing. So for instance, if you want to cleanse phone numbers and standardize addresses, things like that, and whatnot, you can use that transformation. Deduplication, if you're looking to deduplicate users, citizens, record, any particular type of records, you can leverage that transformation to do so. We'll walk through a little bit of that. And parsing operations to break apart different components from a value. So say you have a description of a product and you want to break out the specific components that are mentioned in that description into their own fields. The parsing operation would be helpful for that. So we'll walk through a couple of those just different transformations. In addition to that, we'll also walk through data profiling and how you can run a quick scan on an asset to be able to break down and get some statistics about that asset, such as percentage of null values, distinct values, non-distinct values, as well as being able to dig deeper into it, seeing a distribution on what those values are, seeing the value frequency, across that field, the breakdown, from the top to the bottom, seeing the patterns of that data, and even being able to create dictionaries and exceptions, from this, as well as applying some rule specifications to see the quality of those assets. Any questions so far?
No, we're good.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so first things first, I'll show off how to create a rule specification. So here I've created one that's set up to validate a supplier, and it's validating based on whether or not it has that record of a supplier has a valid phone number, valid address. Based on that information, if all of those are valid, then it's going to be a valid supplier. So in this, and I made a more complex one because I wanted to showcase some of the diversity and how complex you could make this. So I set up first one rule to validate the local phone number, and this is checking the input of local phone. If it's not null, and the length is of this is 10, then it's going to be valid. If not, then it's going to be invalid. And so if that's valid, then that's great. That'll trigger a valid key going up here. This is checking to see if the international code is null or not. If it's not null, then it's valid. And now it checks to confirm if both of those are valid, then that means that the total phone is valid. This is going to be checking if the name in the nation name field is it's going to be checking this dictionary and seeing if the international code matches up with the nation name that's provided. So again, why I was saying that those dictionaries are going to be very helpful. These dictionaries you're going to be able to leverage to not only standardize, but also check to see if data correlates to each other with respect to like reference items. So this is checking to make sure the international dial encode is the correct one for the nation. It could be county, it could be office, things like that. So it's a good way for having a reference document, a reference table. And so if that works, then that's going to be valid. If not, then it's going to send back a rule of invalid nation, a value of invalid nation name. And this is just checking to see if the address value is null or not. And so, yeah. Did anyone have a question?
No, we're good.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I heard someone. Yeah, but this is just a roll up of several rules that is going to be used to check records to validate whether or not that record is of good quality. And you could define that quality dimension here if you wanted to define it as under accuracy, validity, completeness, consistency, uniqueness, or timeliness. You can do that. So in this case, I'm going to set it under validity. All right. Now, a case for deduplication. So here's a case where if I wanted to deduplicate an individual, right, a person based on their name and maybe some additional data, or maybe based off of their postal address and things like that as well. Here I'm showing off some test data that I've filled it out with. This person's name written a couple of different ways, postal area code, phone number, some of which are the same, some of which are different, as well as an email address attribute. And I have a couple of different options here for choosing whether or not I want it to be, slow and complete or, fast and less specific. And I can see what specific fields those are. I go into custom and I can modify this as far as level of accuracy, level of confidence. So if I wanted to have it be as complete as possible, it'll set those to the defaults with a fairly high threshold of 90%. And so if I were to run this as an example, this is a little test here using this test data. It's going to, now I'll go over to consolidation, and here's where I'll see what the test data came back with. So based on, my settings that I wanted it to be as complete and thorough as possible with the possibility that these are different individuals, it broke out, it really only made the call that this was really the same person, with the only distinction being the difference in this email address. Now, with other ones, you can set the threshold as to whether or not you think that you want to make them, join if they have, far less common. You can do that as well in the settings. And then once you do decide, if that's a good threshold for the consolidation, here you can actually choose to consolidate not just based off of row, but you can actually choose based off of the field, based off of a particular strategy, such as the most frequent value, for instance, that was used. Maybe it's the biggest value, the maximum length. Maybe it's the average value. Maybe it's the highest row ID. Whatever it might be, there's a couple of different ways. Most frequent non-blank, value. The different strategies to return that specific field's value for the consolidated record. Here's an example of a parser, right? So for instance, if you wanted to parse out phone numbers, there's actually some pre-built ones, but I built out a custom one using some regular expressions. But we have several built-in expressions that are available, such as parse all leading zeros, parse control characters, parse number at start of string, and things like that. Parse USA phone numbers. These are out of the box, so you could just use them out of the box. But like I said, I wanted to create my own, so I went ahead and created my own just so I could show you what's possible. Let me go back to it here. So here, if I were to go ahead and test this, and what's great is, again, you could test the operations for all of these here and see how they work. So you can see the various inputs on the side here for potential phone numbers and values that might be coming through. Right, this is not going to be a valid phone number, so it's just it's throwing all of it out as unparsed. Here it's taking out the junk components, equals, plus signs, things like that, and it's just providing you with the local phone number because it recognizes that there's no international code. Here it's identifying the international code, right, and parsing at the local phone and so on. So here you could see, right, how it's doing that, and it's pretty thorough. It's doing a good job of parsing out all of the junk characters and leaving you with what's left behind. And then once you parse all of this out with the different fields, that's when you could also, again, set up a rule specification to determine whether or not it's a valid phone number, right? So for instance, first you might cleanse out the phone number of apostrophes, commas, periods, whatever it might be, other special characters, slashes, things like that, to make sure there's no superfluous characters, just the digits, and then you would test to see, hey, is this 10 characters? Then it's a valid value. Ways that you could do that would be through a pipeline if you wanted to do it that way. So to actually start doing phone standardization cleansing operations, I created here a maplet, which actually just uses those different parsing operations. And then once it's parsed, then it's cleansed, and you wanted to create a phone number in a standardized format, you can create an expression to go ahead and do that. And I wrapped all of this into a maplet, so that way you can have that standard maplet for standardizing a phone available in any of the data integrations that you want to do. Say if you wanted to generate a report with your cleansed assets, you could just apply that maplet to the appropriate field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Jen, keep an eye on the time. So
Yeah, I know.
you did well. You gave a lot of content. So I'll ask the rooms. Any questions? So this is just an appetizer, right? So I think next steps, if your agency is interested in working with us, then we would do a much more detailed demo and include, more of your staff in there. Anoop and I were talking, so I'll ask kind of the question for him. So can this scan GCP databases?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. So with the data profiling capability here. Now, in addition to this, and I know we're really focused on data profiling and data quality, but we do have the ability to scan sources themselves instead of just data sets. But we can scan whole sources to get that technical metadata, as well as applying data quality rules to those whole sources in the data governance and catalog component.
Yeah, go ahead, Anoop.
This is Anup Srikumar from VDH. So we are definitely interested in exploring these options, right? Especially from an internal health of our data kind of situation, right? We'll be talking through this. I've asked Chris to set up a follow-up on this and basically talk through our environment is now, our analytical environment is on GCP, right? So if you have any recommendations on how it could be leveraged, what a cost factor might look like in the future, things like that. I think this is an executive briefing that we would like to give, saying how do we bring this into my first question my boss asked me is, how is this different from what GCP does, right? So things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, as a case in point, I don't know, and I might be wrong on this, but one of the challenges that you might find when you're trying to catalog and do some things like this with GCP through Purview is that Purview's pretty good when it comes to it's in Azure, but when it comes to assets that are outside of it, GCP, local storage, things like that, that's where it can become a challenge. And so kind those assets, being able to apply data quality rules, scan them, and understand what those assets look like, to profile them, get a good view of it. That's where Informatica could support some of that as well.
Yeah. So that's what, if you remember with the data maturity assessment, the big area with the Commonwealth had to work on was data quality. So that's how we pushed to get a tool out there to start helping the agencies. I mean, what this tool will do is instead of worrying about Fredericksburg, it'll convert everything to Fredericksburg, right? And that way you can do your reporting by cities and counties. And that was a big problem we were seeing, across all the agencies. So, so I guess Anoop will get you set up. Mitzi, I know Richard volunteered, so if you're still good to go. If anybody else is interested, just see me afterwards. So
I'll just say, we're going to be aggressively promoting this with our agency partners, because we think there's certainly value in some of these unstructured scans, and we hope agencies can see the value in that they're contributing to this.
yeah, I try to keep us on time. So thank you guys from Informatica. I appreciate you coming out here. So looks like we've confirmed who's in the pilot. So we'll just kind of wrap up the last few things in our agenda for today. So
Thank you as well.
what's that?
Thank you.
Share my screen. Oh, hold please. I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on. All right. Are we good, Jesse? All right. Great. So kind of wrapping up. So I spoke briefly about the data quality issues we saw in the last data maturity assessment. Well, it's that time of year. We will be launching the data maturity assessment again on September the 23rd. It will be automated, so it won't be an Excel spreadsheet or anything anymore. It'll be kind of like a survey where you can click on it. You'll be able to actually save your draft and get other people's opinions. So we've done some work in Power App to make that happen. So hopefully you like the new and improved data management maturity assessment. I did want to say coming up, you're the first to know about this, so you can get a head start. There will be some data governance awards that will be given out that you can put a little badge on your website. We'll have you on our website to say kind of which agencies are the best at data governance. So I've given you the scoring criteria already on here. So I'm just saying, if you want to get started, go for it. And part of it's NEEM. You get extra points for NEEM usage. So 20 points, because that's hard work. Okay, so, and do those policies. So Jesse, if you want to, or is Marcus going to wrap it up?
Sure.
All right, here's your slide.
Before we wrap it up, there is one order of business I'd like to get out of the way. I should have started with this, and that's roll call. So I'll call a name, and you can say here or present. Rich Rosendahl. Mitzi Fletcher.
Present.
TJ Claiborne.
Present.
Anoop Srikumar. Here. Karen Smith.
Present.
Alus Puvatu. And I'm here as well, present. Thank you. Okay, next Data Governance Council meeting will be one of these 3 dates. We've given you these options. We can vote on it now, or we can vote later. Would you like to vote now?
Can't really vote later. So
Oh, that's right. We can't vote electronic. So we'll vote now. Okay.
It's far enough away that I don't think it doesn't matter.
Is there a date that of those 3 works better for anyone? Would like someone like to make a motion and throw out a
It's so
date?
far away.
7 months.
The good thing, this is after General Assembly, so all
I'll
General
make the
Assembly will be over.
April 9th.
April 9th, okay. Would like someone like to make a motion, April 9th, the next DGC meeting?
So moved.
Motion?
Yeah.
Next meeting for Data Governance Council to be April 9th, 2025 from 1 to 3 PM. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. April 9th, Jesse. Got it? Beautiful. Virginia Datathon. We can't wait. It's coming up. Our last Datathon was a success, and we're looking forward to the new one. It's going to be leveraging data for smoother transportation is the topic. So
It's not April 9th, right?
Nope, that's April 11th, but we have to confirm with the venue, so
Is that gonna be too much?
I don't think so. Okay, you got it.
not for this group. No. We're used to too much. So we encourage you all to, participate if you have teams, and certainly join us on the day. It's a great day, and there are a lot of great presentations that the teams put together, and really good networking event. So registration will be opening soon for that. Some of our ODGA events, you all recently, some of you went to COVID, so that was a great event. We'll be featuring, distributing our data maturity assessment, Friday, I believe?
Monday, the 23rd.
Monday, okay, Monday. We're really excited about that. This is our first Power App form that we productionized. And before, when we sent you the data survey, the maturity assessment, you got a spreadsheet. We're data folks, so we need to do better, and we are. So you will now have a form, an online form, a Power App that you'll enter and submit the data maturity assessment. We're very excited about that. CDAO government, Fortunately, I wasn't able to speak to that, but that's okay. Data Governance Council, that's today. Thank you. Upcoming DBHDS biannual staff meeting, AI presentation. Chris and Jesse will be speaking at that. We've got GMU webinar, George Mason. We've got Data Stewards Group in October. CDAO award ceremony coming up. A library, LVA librarian webinar on October 22nd. Ken will be judge, I believe, at the Hampton Datathon, right?
Yep.
Wonderful. And then publishing our data strategy.
The CDAO Awards, that's in Boston at the Marriott Copley. Our team was, is one of 3 finalists for Data Team of the Year, along with University of Phoenix, and I believe Citibank is another one, I think. So
Well, we have to take that.
we have to make the short list.
Any questions? It's been a good day. Thank you guys again for your personal presence. Okay, do we have any comments from the public? Okay. Anything else from anyone? Comments, questions, editorials? Okay, I bid you farewell. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
That's a record.